Hey there, mathletes. Today we're going to talk about ellipses. Now, ellipses are different from circles because a circle has the same distance from the center to the edge. Now, ellipses have two different radii. So it could be stretched. We could take a circle and we could stretch it sideways and or up and down. So that's what we're going to focus on today. Now, the form of the equation looks a little different. The equation looks like this. X minus h over r sub x squared plus y minus k over r sub y squared, always equal to 1. Always equal to 1. Now, the center is still the same as a circle, so it's h comma k. So the same comes from here and here. Now our circle equation just kind of has denominators. It has some fractions in it. Now, r sub x stands for the radius of the x-axis. Alright, so let's say that. We'll call this the x radius. And r sub y stands for the y radius. Alright, now there's some important information to know here. Okay, we always compare the x and y radius, if r sub x is greater than r sub y. So basically, if the x radius is bigger, we say our x radius is our major axis. And the same, if our y radius is larger in value, we say the y is my major axis. Okay, and if that's the case, the other one is our minor axis. Okay, so if my x is my major axis, my y is my minor, and if my y is my major axis, my x is my minor. Major means larger. Alright, so when graphing an ellipse, it will look something like this. So let's say the center is my origin. Let's say the rx radius is like 4. So it's 4 in both directions, and my y radius is 2. So up 2, down 2. So this would be my ellipse. Notice it's like a circle that was stretched sideways. Alright, so in this case, this would be my x radius, and this would be my y radius. In this case, my x radius is my major and my y radius is my minor, because my x radius is 4 and my y radius is 2, so my x is larger. Alright, so that's how we do that. Now, the focal radius. Alright, the focal radius is the distance from the center to the foci. Alright, the center to the foci. Now, my a value always represents the length of my major axis. So the length of the larger one. Now that could be x or y. It's just the actual number we're speaking of. The b is the length of the minor axis. So the other one. And then the c is actually my focal radius. Alright, and we find the focal radius by going c squared equals a squared minus b squared. Alright, now, I threw a lot of information at you, so you're probably like, what is this dude talking about? But once we apply it and put it into context and we do the next example, we're going to tie all this together and it's going to make sense. Alright, so just bear with me for a few more moments. So this is all our information we need. So let's put it to use and go graph something. Alright, so looking at example 1. This is my equation. And we want to fill in all the information and draw our graph. So the center is opposite h, opposite k. That's why in our equation it's minus and minus. So my center is positive 4, negative 1. The radius of my x is always the denominator with my x, so 3. Radius of my y is always the denominator with my y, so 5. Alright, so let's draw our graph and then we'll talk about the focal radius and all that stuff. So my center is 4, 1. I'm going to draw a bunch of tick marks on my graph. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And up as well. And down. Okay, so my center is 4, negative 1. My x radius is 3, so I'm going to go right 3 and left 3. And then my y radius is 5, so I'm going to go up 5 and down 5. Which makes sense. Y radius is on the y-axis, up and down. X radius is on the x-axis, left and right. Alright, so kind of looks like an egg. Alright, so let's think about this. Who's my major axis? Well, in this case, y is larger. So y is my major, and x is my minor. So those are the values. So when finding the focal radius, remember it's c squared equals a squared minus b squared. Now, this formula is not as important to remember. You just always have to know it's the big radius minus the small radius. Major minus minor. So in this case, we have c squared equals my major, which is 5 squared minus 3 squared. So 25 minus 9 gives me c squared equals 16. Square root both sides. C equals plus or minus 4, because the square root of 16 is 4. Alright, now, we're going to talk about the foci, and that's spelled wrong. Okay, the foci. Now, we always start with the coordinate of my center, right, of the minor. Now, my foci are little dots that are going to fall in the circle, or in the ellipse, I'm sorry. But your foci are always going to be on your major axis. So my major axis is the one that's going to be changing. In this case, it's y. Alright, now, no matter, my foci are going to fall on this line, right? Well, the coordinates of this line, this dot here, are 4, 1. So no matter where I go on this line, my x value is going to be 4. Okay. Now, my y value is going to change from the center. So I'm at -1, and my y value is going to change. Now, how much does it change? Well, that's what my focal radius says. It's 4. So from my center, I'm going to go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. And I'm going to go down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, your foci should always fall inside of your ellipse. Alright, so let's call this F1 and this F2. So from -1, I went up 4, so that puts me at +3. From -1, I went down 4, and that puts me at -5. So to find the foci, all right, what happens is we actually went up 4 and down 4 from my y coordinate in my center, and that all came from my focal radius. Now, you can use your graph to decide that, or you can use your addition and subtraction skills to find that. It's up to you. But that's how we find the foci. From the center, we take our focal radius and we go up and down. Kind of like here, from our center, we go right 3 and left 3, up 5 and left 5. Up 5 and down 5. Alright, I know it's a lot to take in, but we'll get it. Okay, let's try a different example. Now it says, given the following information, write the equation of the ellipse and find the coordinates of the foci. Alright, so we have the center is 2, -3. My x radius is 7, my y radius is 4. So we know we have x opposite of 2 is -2 squared, and it's all over my x radius is 7, plus y opposite of -3 is +3, all over my y radius, which is 4 squared, is equal to 1. Now it tells me my focal radius is 6. So my center is 2, -3. Alright. So my focal radius is around 6. Now, my major is my x. So if you think about it, if you graph this, let's just draw a quick sketch so we can kind of visualize this. My center's at 2, -3. So it's down here. and we go 7, 7, 4, 4. Alright, so my foci is going to go 6 in either direction for my center. Now it's moving left and right, so that means my x value is changing. So I'm going to go plus 6, minus 6. So my f1 is going to be 2 plus 6 is 8, negative 3. My f2 is going to be 2 minus 6 is negative 4, negative 3. So 8, negative 3 should fall in there. Negative 4, negative 3 should fall in there. Alright. Now, I estimated this 6 in my focal radius just to kind of get us thinking about it and doing it the right way. Alright, well that's all I got. See you later.